I used to believe being the smart one was a gift, a badge of honor, something to be proud of. But growing up, I learned something they never tell you. Being labeled the smart one doesn't mean you get praised. It means you get left behind. It means your needs don't count. Your struggles are invisible. And when the people around you need something, money, emotional labor, silence, you become the first one they expect it from. That's how I ended up here. Cut off from my family, rebuilding my life from the ashes of their betrayal. Because of my brother Jake. And because my parents let it happen. Let me tell you everything. Growing up, I was the golden kid. Or so everyone said. I was reading fluently by the time I was 4. Teachers loved me. I was quiet, focused, and advanced beyond my peers. My parents would brag about me at family events, but not in a loving way. More like I was a product they were proud to sell. She's like a little adult, my mom would say. She doesn't need help, she just gets things, my dad added once. At first, I wore that praise like armor. But soon I realized the price. If I had a bad day, I was told I was overreacting. If I struggled in school, it wasn't allowed, I was too smart for that. When I cried, my parents didn't ask why. They'd just say, Leah, don't be dramatic. Your brother needs us right now. And that was true, Jake always needed them. Jake was 2 years younger than me and he was chaos. He was always in trouble, for fighting, for stealing, for skipping class. Teachers would call. Neighbors would complain. He'd scream at my mom when he didn't get what he wanted. But he was also charming. Charismatic in that dangerous, unpredictable way. Where I was expected to self-regulate, Jake was allowed to explode. He's just emotional, my mom said. He's finding himself, my dad added. When Jake flunked a grade, they hired a tutor. When I was struggling in AP chemistry, my dad said, "You'll figure it out. You're brilliant." I taught myself how to survive in silence. I stopped asking for help. I started disappearing inside my own mind, telling myself I didn't need them. By 16, I had a job, good grades, and a detailed plan to escape. Jake was caught selling weed behind the school gym. He got grounded for a weekend. Then they bought him a used car to give him motivation. I got into a top-tier university across the country. Full ride. Honors program. I didn't even expect them to help me move. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. Not only did they refuse to help financially, but my mom actually said, "It's great that you're independent." Jake could never handle that. As if I had some unfair advantage, like discipline or ambition, that somehow made me less deserving of support. Meanwhile, Jake moved in with them full-time after high school. No job. No school. Just video games, parties, and bad decisions. They paid his rent, his gas, his tickets. They told the neighbors he was freelancing. I called less and less. But every now and then I'd get messages. "Jake's struggling. He just needs a break. Can you talk to him?" I tried. He'd ghost me. Or tell me I didn't get it. He wasn't wrong. I didn't get it. I didn't get how someone could have the world handed to them and just let it rot. A year ago I got a call from my mom. Jake had overdosed and crashed his car into a ditch. He survived, but barely. "He needs a fresh start," she said, sobbing. "We're stretched thin. Could you help, just this once?" I didn't want to. But something in me still felt responsible. So I wired them $500. 2 weeks later, another call. "Jake needs help with rent." I said no. That's when the tone changed. "You think you're better than us now, don't you?" My mom snapped. "You've always been selfish," my dad added. They weren't asking anymore. They were guilting me. But I held firm. That's when things took a turn I never expected. 3 months ago, I made the mistake of flying home for a weekend visit. It was awkward from the moment I walked in. Jake looked twitchy. Pale. Thin. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. I barely recognized him. He hugged me like he hadn't just ignored my texts for a year. That night, while I was asleep, someone went through my bag. I noticed the next morning. My wallet had been moved. A small pouch of jewelry was gone. I asked my mom, she said maybe I misplaced it. My dad changed the subject. Jake wouldn't look me in the eye. I knew. But I said nothing. I flew back home. 1 week later, I got a visit from the police. They had a warrant. Someone had filed fraudulent credit card applications using my name, my social security number, my current address. Thousands of dollars of debt. Loans. Phones. A payday advance. All of it opened within a 2-week window, the exact 2 weeks after my visit home. I froze my credit. Called a lawyer. Filed reports. Then, by sheer luck, my cousin reached out. She still lives in our hometown. She told me Jake had been bragging at a party, about how he got even with his sister. How he used her name to clear his debt. How she deserves it, she left us. I couldn't breathe. I confronted my parents. My mom went pale. My dad denied everything. I told them I had a lawyer, that I was pressing charges. My mom begged me not to. She cried. She blamed Jake's addiction. She said he wasn't himself. He's scared. He didn't mean to hurt you. He's your brother. He needs help. I stood up. So did I. For 20 years. And no one showed up. I left. 3 days later, my mom emailed my company. She told them I was under investigation for fraud and struggling with addiction. HR flagged it and called me in, not to fire me but to tell me what had happened. They knew I was being set up. They supported me. It was the only sliver of light that week. I changed my number, locked every account, paid a small fortune in legal fees to clean up the damage. Jake never apologized. My parents never did either. They just disappeared. I think they were ashamed. Or angry. Or both. But I knew the truth now. I had never been their daughter. Not really. I had been their investment. Their trophy. Their emergency fund. The moment I stopped being useful, they tried to destroy me. But I survived. It's been 6 weeks since I went no contact. I blocked them on everything. I've never felt lighter. I see a therapist now. I journal. I run. I sleep like a person who isn't constantly waiting for a shoe to drop. Sometimes I mourn what I lost. But the truth is, I never had it. I was an only child in a house with 4 people. And now, I'm finally alone, but I'm free. Last week, an unknown number left a voicemail. It was Jake. He was in rehab. He sounded small, broken, tired. He said he was sorry, that he never meant to hurt me, that he wishes he could take it back. Then he asked if I could help cover a better program. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I deleted the voicemail. I didn't respond, because sometimes the only way to heal is to walk away. I'm telling this story now because I know I'm not alone. There are so many of us, the smart kids, the strong ones, the responsible children, who were never allowed to have needs, who were raised to be self-sufficient so others could be chaotic. If that's you, you're not broken. You were just used. You don't owe anyone your peace, or your money, or your silence. You are allowed to choose yourself. I did, and it saved my life.